William, how did you find Carnivore?
Um, it's actually an interesting story. Um, about 3.5, 4 years ago, I had an anaphylactic response to something I'd eaten. It put me in the hospital, stopped my heart, really, really pretty desperate straits. And right out of the blue, other than dust, I don't have any allergies. And out of nowhere, I suddenly developed allergies to soy products and my favorite bug, shrimp. Um, which I've had to give up the shrimp, which is very sad. Um, but I didn't understand soy and what was going on. I was busy with other things, and I really didn't pay attention to diet and all these things. I just ate what my wife cooked, and we went out and all those good things. And once I got out of the hospital and I'm recuperating, I started doing a deeper dive in soy and all these things, and I discovered it's in every bloody thing. You can't go to McDonald's and get a burger. It's not cooked with soy, or French fries. The buns have soy in them. Um, Heaven forbid Taco Bell, soy. You go to a restaurant, most likely, even a good quality restaurant, a lot of times the dressing is prepackaged and it's made with soy oil. Mayonnaise, everything has soy as an additive, and that's not good for me, evidently. So as I got deeper in this, I started exploring mostly online with YouTube videos, because that's a great source of information. If once you root out the good sources, you find some excellent content to understand all these things. And I came across the carnivore, and my wife is from another country, and she's more of a herbivore, and I'm discovering that these things are really not good for me, and I can't eat a lot of these things anymore. So I went and said, okay, I'm going to try this carnivore diet, see how it works. And I felt really good, but I went in like most things. I jumped in with both feet, and that was, of course, a bad idea. But I wanted to give myself a kind of a hard hit, so to speak, and see how it went. And I love steak, not a problem there, but it gets old. And I kind of went in and out of carnivore, and I had less of these other products, vegetables, breads, and things. And I even took to making my own bread with just the 3, 4 ingredients it takes to make it, because you can't buy bread without soy and sugar in it. But I started really getting focused on my health. I had gained weight since I'd married, which is almost a quarter century ago. I gained about 2 pounds a year. I guess most husbands are like that. We gain weight. My wife is a really good cook, so it wasn't easy. And as I moved away from these other foods, I learned that I felt better. I lost a little weight, and then I kind of faded away from it because I was feeling better. All right. My blood pressure had gone up just a little bit, and I was attributing that, well, maybe that carnivore diet was causing a problem. So I backed away from it completely, and then my blood sugar started going up, and my blood pressure started going up. And I just started experimenting. If you're a scientist or an engineer, you alleviate, you remove questionable items, and you test and you retest. So over the next 2, 3 years, I'm trying different diet programs, trying to find what works for me. Um, and I don't know. I'm not really a carnivore so much right now. I'm more of I guess it's ketovore, right? Little vegetables here and there. So, but mostly now I'm purely carnivore. In the last 8 months, I went completely carnivore, except my wife's occasional delicious meal. And like I have eggs in the morning, 4 or 5 eggs in the morning cooked in butter, which is delicious. I'll sometimes shave a little onion into it. I'll saute the onions in butter and cook the eggs, scrambled eggs. Um, I will eat a steak in the afternoon, or I might have some baked fish, which I like. But mostly that's my diet now, and I just a matter of changing the seasonings to account for variation in the diet. And of course, I have little snacks like this afternoon I had a handful of pistachios. Those are quite good. It's a good fat. Um, this evening I'm going to have a steak. And again, my digestion's good. I feel better. My blood sugar is a little high still, but it's actually slowly tapering off. I'm at 103 on an average. I use a glucose monitor, one of those continuous monitors. I didn't have diabetes or anything, but I didn't know you know with the doctor you go in every 6 months, they do a checkup. Oh, your blood sugar's high. Well, all they're doing is really checking the A1C, and that doesn't tell you what's going on. So the blood sugar monitor gives me a 15-minute interval update of what I ate and how my body reacts to it. So I'm kind of wandering around a little bit, but I'm just trying to condense the last few years. Um, my A1C is in good shape right now. The blood sugar is still a little high. I want to get it below 100. My body weight is better. I've lost about 35 pounds, I think. And my target, I'm not really trying to lose weight so much as I want my body to go back to its natural weight, um, which would be about 185, maybe 190. Well, that was what I weighed at when my 20s, early 20s. Which I'm I got a broad set of shoulders, so I'm physically a larger man, and the weight at 190 is a good carry weight for me. So I'm being successful at that, and I'm feeling better.
Nice. So like, what's the main reason you want to stick with this? Is it just like, is it kind of this feeling like if I stay on this diet, if I stay on this lifestyle, I'm avoiding the allergens, or is it just, is it everything combined?
It's kind of all those things. First off, I'm a little older now. Okay, so I need to keep myself healthy. I want to hang around and drive my wife crazy for another 20 years. You know, that's a worthy goal for a husband. Um, I got a 21-year-old daughter that I want to see her someday get married. I want to be there for all that stuff, but more importantly, I want to be able to enjoy doing it. I don't want to be in a wheelchair or so lame that I can barely walk around on my own. You know, I think I mentioned I was 67 now. Okay, so I got a lot of life I want to live, and I want to be able to do things I enjoy doing. Now, I understand the fact that I'm never going to be capable of doing the things I did when I was 20, but I'm physically capable of doing some really strenuous work. I have a pole barn I like to restore old cars in and just do projects and things, and I need that energy. So, besides lasting a while for my family, I also want to enjoy the rest of my life, whatever that comes to be. And the only way to do that is to stay fit and healthy. I'm just trying to find a path that allows me to be fit and healthy without requiring myself to go to the gym, just working in the yard, trimming trees, picking up equipment, moving it around, just physical things you do as a homeowner that take care of your property. Um, I'm not much of a gym person. I used to be years ago, but I just want to be able to live an enjoyable life, and going to the gym is not particularly enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. It's
Catching
not
up to me,
something
are
that
you?
yeah, I'm not someone that, is dying to get to the gym.
Well,
Um,
when I was younger, I practiced karate for nearly 20 years, and I'm paying the price in my joints, which is one of the bad things. So my elbows and knees are not the best of condition. Um, so they got to last a little while longer. You know, I don't want a knee or hip replacement, and so it's just a lifestyle change to be healthy and fit. And I figure my body knows what to do. It's got to go back into stasis or homeostasis, and it will find its own path if I give it what it needs and get rid of all the junk that's out there. I don't eat all that other stuff, chips and well, the junk food, you know, the stuff in the center of the grocery store. I stick with dairy products and meat and eggs and fish. That's my diet.
Nice. So like if you're looking at your energy now and what you can do now on a day-to-day basis compared to before you discovered carnivore, there's a massive difference.
Well, there's two factors. When my heart stopped, I also had some heart damage that weakened me quite a bit. I am getting back, but I still suffer a little weakness in the heart. Um, but I'm feeling so much better than I did 2 years ago. And it's just a few push-ups and sit-ups and those kind of things. Plus, when I want to work in the yard, if I got to pick up a bag of cement because I'm setting a fence post, I can still pick it up. I couldn't 2 years ago. It was not even physically possible. Walking to the car was a bit of a challenge. So that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah. And
So I do feel better. Yeah.
something you mentioned before about the healing, giving your body the right what it needs so it can heal. I mean, it's actually it's pretty amazing that we see the body healing in front of us, like if we get a cut on our knee or something like that as we grow up. But for most people, we never really think about how the body can heal internally. And we just think, okay, well, we need to rely on meds for life. Every time something goes wrong, we need to go to the doctor and get some medication for it, or we need to get some advice from the doctor. And actually, a lot of it just comes down to eating properly, and your body can handle it.
Yeah. The body, if you cut yourself or skin your knee, it mobilizes an immense supply of resources to heal that injury. And if you get out of the way, it does a very good job of it. Um, so I'm just trying to get out of its way and let it do what it knows what to do.
Yeah. So how have your wife and daughter reacted to the way you're eating now? Do they kind of think it's a bit crazy, or are they happy that it's working for you?
Well, my wife is a little agnostic. She likes the fact that I've lost weight and I'm feeling better and doing better. She's a nurse, so she's hyper focused on my health, which is appreciated but annoying. My daughter, however, she was a junk food person and she's started eating healthier. She started feeling better. She'll have steak with me at night, and she never really cared for steak much. And she's eating a lot less of the processed food. She still likes her chips once in a while, but it's a rare thing. Um, my wife, she cooks traditional food. We don't really eat anything out of a package, so everything she cooks is single ingredient type. Like right now, she's upstairs preparing a steak for me, but she's also cooking some squash, which I'm not going to eat that. I don't even like squash. And a thing called shima. I don't know if you know what shima is. And shima um, is basically cornmeal boiled and seasoned, and it's like has the consistency of thick mashed potatoes. It's really a filler type of dish. You'd mix up some other ingredients and you grab some shima and dip it in the ingredients, but it's still corn and that's sugar. So I'm trying to avoid that kind of stuff. But sadly, she makes really good spring rolls, and so I do indulge. That's why I say I'm more carnivore than carnivore. But I minimize what I eat outside of my not so much diet. It's just a lifestyle change, and I'm slowly getting used to these new types of foods, and I'm enjoying them more.
And that's the thing, it really it's a lifestyle change, and when you realize you can break the emotional connection you've had to the chips or all the junk, suddenly everything looks very different, right?
Oh, of course. The I don't know if I did so much emotional eating. I would eat when I was hungry, um, but I would snack. I especially if you're watching a movie, you got to have popcorn. Well, I've given that up because again, that's corn, so it's sugar, and I want to keep all the sugars out of my body as I can. Um, but I've never been a real big fan of chips. They're a nice little snack once in a while, but I just don't eat them at all because they're all fried in soy oil.
Yeah. Yeah, like in the past, sitting down to watch a movie, it's like the movie feels like it's missing something if you don't have that snack next to you? So yeah, it's nice
Exactly.
to get over that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if you glass of wine, I don't drink wine. I like bourbon myself, so I'd still indulge in bourbon, but that interferes with the metabolic process of fat burning. So it's a rare occurrence. Normally, I would have 2, 3 drinks a week in the evening to just reward myself for whatever project I'm working on. Sit down and put my feet up and think about what I worked on, what problem I solved, but I've cut that out pretty much too. I have a very nice bar in my family room that I don't visit enough anymore.
So do you feel like this is something you'll continue with?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, my key metrics are blood sugar and weight, and kind of the more abstract how I feel. And if I try something or eat something that's out line of what I've been eating lately, I can tell the difference pretty quick. It's just something doesn't feel quite right, and it's just your body telling you this is not good for you. At least that's my perspective.
And you're not on any meds now?
No, no
No.
meds. My blood pressure is high, but it's coming down. I'm about 135 over 75, which is good, but it didn't used to be that high, and there is an age factor in that. What I am doing though is I'm using, because we live in the northern climate, so we don't get much sunlight. So I supplement with vitamin D and K3, which that seems to moderate it nicely. So as long as I stay down to 130 or 125 over 70, I'll be delightful. And I think once I get outside working more this summer, once the snow's gone, that will come down a little bit too. I'm not as physically active as I should be or could be, but I don't like the cold.
Yeah. You and me both.
Yeah.
Um, so if you were giving a friend advice about starting with carnivore, what would you tell them to do?
Oh my goodness. I would give them all the warnings, I think. Of course, don't do what I do and jump in feet first. Read about it and study about it and find reputable sources. And again, the best source of that is online with YouTube and groups. But pick your sources well and listen to all the perspectives on it, because there's several really good doctors out there that are pure carnivore, and then there's some that are more ketovore. Um, and I think both approaches work well. I think the best thing is find what works for you. Um, don't give up spices. I like steak with salt and black pepper. Sometimes I'll rub some garlic on it. Um, my wife gets this spice from back in Zambia that's grown locally. I don't know what it is, but it's a really nice seasoning for fish and steak. Um, I don't know what it is. That might be a little scary, but it's grown on a local farm by people in a village. So she gets it home and leaves and grinds it up, and it's really good. But it's not made in a factory. It's not processed, and it's not coated with insecticides. It's all family farmed, and but I think stick with a little bit of spice. If you find just eating steak all the time is unpleasant, but you can eat other things too. You can get sausage. You can get, if you're a hunter, venison is an excellent source. But vary the meats, vary the way they cook. Um, and if you have to, it's not so much cheating, but throw in a little green salad if you want. Um, and I do that. But I do make my own homemade bread. For over the holidays, I made homemade bread because you can't buy bread that I can eat. So you throw in a little, not so much a cheat day. I don't like to use that word, but that's what it is. You're just rewarding yourself. It's the holidays, and you want to join your family at dinner. But stick everything single source. Concentrate on the meat. Avoid anything that turns to sugar in your body readily, like corn. A lot of all the grains I think turn to sugar. I'm not sure exactly at the moment. But of course, bread is a grain. Um, and of course, sweets in general, sugar, anything, candies, cakes, pies, anything you're cooking with sugar is going to be bad for you. And then, like I said, I can eat that and I can tell, but research it. Start with some basic stuff, even if you have to go to the store and buy hot dogs, if that's what suits you. Start with the meat and just use that to replace the snack foods you have. Um, Keep hard boiled eggs in the fridge. I always have a dozen hard boiled eggs in the fridge. If I want a snack, I'm feeling a little bit of a craving. One or two hard boiled eggs does the job. It's got everything a chicken needs to grow. I figure it's probably good for me. Put a little salt on it and add a little flavor. You could put paprika on it if you want, but don't go strict carnivore at first, but start getting rid of some of the junk and work your way into what works for you. You'll find your path, I believe. I really think you find your path if you listen to your body.
Yeah, I guess like recognizing that stuff that's ultra processed is not good, and
Oh
then
yeah.
just starting to eliminate that stuff. I mean, that helps everyone to find the path they need to go on, right?
Right. Get
Mhm.
rid of the stuff in the pantry that you can't eat. That's Stop buying it. If you stop seeing it in your pantry, you're not going to be desire. There'll be no desire for it. You won't crave it. I used to like macaroni and cheese, Kraft macaroni and cheese. You know what I'm talking about? I grew up when I was in college. I was poor. I rode a motorcycle to school. Kraft macaroni and cheese was my staple. That and a hamburger. That was what I ate. And ramen noodles. But just get rid of that stuff. If it's not in your pantry, you're not going to be prepared. You're not going to be tempted to cook it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's if it comes in a box, there's a pretty good chance that it's the box is about as nutritious as what's inside, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So William, how can people reach out to you if they want to get in contact? Do you have any social media or any other way of getting in contact?
Well, I have my YouTube channel that's Southern Engineering, but it's a DIY kind of channel. But in there is a link to my email, which is linked to that channel. So yeah, they could reach out. I'll be happy to chat with them.
Awesome. So I'll link to your YouTube in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story today. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's as probably unique as everybody else's. They all have to find their own path in their health, and this is working for me. And that was forced upon me when I ended up in the hospital out of the blue.